I brought a project today to show you a journey. My little chickens I've been working on, they're just fun little chickens, little decorative pillows, I guess you could call it. Wouldn't give you a lot of support, but they're just kind of fun. So this one I made actually according to the pattern. And the only thing that's different is the gauge of wool that I'm using is a finer gauge than what the pattern called for, but it doesn't make any difference. It can be whatever size one decides to make it. But here it is, a little Fair Isle knitting, sewed up across the bottom to a point just big enough to keep my hand, let my hand go in and put the stuffing in and then finish sewing it back up. So then I wanted to experiment with some other yarn that I had. So it's a little thicker yarn. So you can see the chicken, he's a little bigger. I guess it's a he, could be a hen. And this one is a little different yarn, a little bigger gauge. And so pretty much made the same way as far as the structure of it is concerned. But on this one, I decided to experiment with the comb. And I actually like my little version of the comb. It's knitted double, and so it kind of makes it a little fuller. And I put a couple of little tucks in it. I'll show you the comb on the other one so you can compare. It's a cute little comb, but it's just made differently. It's made in 3 little pieces. And I thought, well, what the heck? I can make that all in one. So I changed it up, put my little touch to it. That's the beauty of doing your own little thing. Someone said a pattern is just a suggestion. There's pieces of a pattern we have to follow and not vary from. Like if you're making bread, yeast bread, you got to put yeast in it or it doesn't work. So there's some pieces to an instruction that you have to adhere to, but we can also take liberties and put our own touch to something. So talking about the process, I have another chicken that I'm making here. This is what's on my needles right now. And I think I've got 4 different colors of yarn in this. And I'm gonna felt this. Talking about felting, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna try it. This time, however, because I learned from my last experience, this time I'm using 100% Shetland wool, and it's actually from the Shetland Islands, and I love this wool. It's Jameson wool from Shetland, and it has a little stickeriness to it. It's what you typically think of wool. However, as you wear this wool and it gets washed a few times, it actually softens down and becomes quite delightful. But this is a good wool for felting because it does have a little more stability to the fiber, a little more crimp in the fiber. And so I'm going to be making some videos on my process of actually felting this, and success or failure, you're going to see what happens with this process. So I'll keep you informed, but it's another chicken. I have no idea how big it's going to be because I don't know how much this is going to felt down. I don't know how many inches it will shrink down to. So it'll be a surprise for all of us, and I'll keep you informed along the way. But on one of our journeys that we took, a cruise to the Baltic countries, I went prepared to make this journal, and it was really fun. I would call it rustic. It's not fancy, but it has a lot of memories in this book, and it was so much fun to make. And while I did work on it a little bit on our trip, because we were on a cruise, and if you've ever been on a cruise, you know you have some time on your hands occasionally. And so I just worked a little bit on the cruise, but finished it up when we got home. So I've taken another journal apart that had a spiral here, but it was much narrower. Because I was adding so much to the pages, it became very thick. So a glue stick, a pair of scissors, and washi tape. If you've done much crafting, you know about washi tape. And there's a million designs in washi tape. And so if you go to the craft store, look up washi tape if you don't know what it is. And it's a great little thing to work with. So starting at the front here, and we're not going to do every page, but I just wanted to show you, you know, airline tickets. They're all held in here with washi tape. And I had some pictures developed when I got home to put in my book. And I made some pockets here with papers that I had painted. And in the pockets have little things that I've collected. For every country we're going to be in, I printed out their flag and the map of the country, and of course the name. And then some of this is all handwritten. This is the date up here. And so every page is different, just fun little things that we collected along the way. Lots of washi tape in this book. Little notes. Like I say, it's, I would call it rustic. These are the every day on a cruise. If you've not been on one, you get a printout of what the events are. And so I cut those out every day and put those in here and flip it up, and you can have more pictures underneath. So it's just a fun little book to make. And because I put so much in it, it became so thick. So I Googled and figured out how to sew the pages together so there's a knot in between each page. So each page in this book is independently sewed in so the pages turn beautifully. Because the spiral had already had holes punched in the paper, that made it real easy to just use those. And I think every other row is where I sewed in. And it's very sturdy, a fun little book, great memories for Alden and I. And maybe when the day comes that my daughters are having to go through my treasures, they will take a moment and look at the pages before it goes off into Never Never Land. But it's really for myself, for memories of our trip. We took this trip with some friends, and so it's just a treasure. It's a delight to have, and really wasn't very expensive. The biggest expense was in the buying the journal itself. It's a good sturdy cover, which I think is pretty important when you're making a journal. And then the washi tape. And washi tape is not very expensive. You can get it on Amazon, and fun to work with. So there wasn't a whole lot of designing in this book. I just started out and did what I felt like, and a little bit of continuity every day. I put the date on the same part of the pages inside a little, open it up here. This is where the date is, so that's every day there's this little symbol that I wrote in. And then there's washi tape out here on the outside edges. That really is all the planning that went into this. Very spontaneous, but just a fun treasure for me to have. And the fact that it's got this fantastic little elastic strap on it is great. Now you could make your own strap very easily. I just didn't take the time and get that creative with it. But you know, this idea isn't just for a trip. You could do it with your kids for a camp, or a birthday, or maybe, you know, a school event. I like the size of it. It's not huge. Some scrapbooks can get so big, and if you have a big house, that's great. I don't. I only have 2 of these, so it's not like I'm making one of these for every event in my life. But these are treasures, and so hopefully there's some ideas there that you will enjoy.